Warning: the hidden dangers in your seafood, what seniors need to know. Seafood has a clean reputation, light, lean, and full of protein. It's what doctors often recommend for a heart-healthy diet. But behind that shiny label and ocean-fresh image lies a truth that's rarely discussed. For seniors, certain seafoods can quietly work against your health, loading your system with mercury that clouds memory, bacteria that cause infections, and chemicals that overwork aging kidneys. The packaging promises wild-caught and sustainably sourced, but the story beneath the waves is far murkier. Today, we uncover 9 seafoods you should avoid, and 2 that truly deserve a place on your plate. Number 9. Imported farmed shrimp. Shrimp tops the list as America's favorite seafood. Freezer aisles are stacked with glossy bags showing crystal-clear water, happy farmers, and sustainability seals. But the truth? Over 90% of shrimp sold in the U.S. isn't local. It's imported, often from farms in Southeast Asia that operate with little to no oversight. Lab tests have repeatedly found antibiotic residues banned in the United States, and even E. coli contamination slipping through inspections. For seniors taking heart or blood pressure medications, those antibiotic traces can trigger dangerous drug interactions. Doctors warn about mixing pills, but no one warns you about what's hiding in your seafood. That frozen bag may feel clean and safe, but inside it could be a chemical cocktail that clashes with the very prescriptions keeping you alive. And the biggest red flag? You'll never find the farm's name or water source on the label. That's not transparency, that's deception wrapped in plastic. The shrimp look perfect, pink, plump, and ready for your pan. But most of these farms rely on overcrowded tanks, cheap feed, and constant chemical treatments to keep disease from spreading. When shipments fail inspection, they're often rerouted to another port until someone accepts them. By the time they reach your dinner table, you have no clue where they came from or what they were exposed to. Industry insiders call it global sourcing. Consumer advocates call it a gamble with your health. And the most unsettling part? Even after multiple recalls, those same brands keep filling grocery freezers year after year. Fish. Number 8. King mackerel. King mackerel often hides behind the phrase heart healthy. Menus highlight its omega-3s and lean texture, making it sound like the perfect choice for seniors who want to eat smart. But here's the catch. This fish is loaded with mercury, often exceeding the FDA's safe weekly limit in just one serving. Mercury isn't just another contaminant. It targets the brain, nerves, and kidneys, especially in older adults already managing chronic conditions or taking medications like diuretics or blood thinners. Your body can't flush it out quickly enough. It builds up silently, meal after meal, settling deep in your tissues and brain. On the plate, king mackerel looks harmless. Silver skin, firm flesh, a light char from the grill. Restaurants praise it as a clean protein or a smart choice for heart health. But that charm hides a darker reality. Decades of pollution concentrated in a single fish. Here's the science. Larger fish eat smaller ones, absorbing every trace of contamination their prey carried. By the time a king mackerel reaches maturity, it's a vessel of accumulated toxins. Yes, the FDA has issued warnings. Yes, independent labs have confirmed the danger again and again. But as long as the profit margins stay high, the marketing won't stop. The irony? When nutritionists talk about the health benefits of mackerel, they're referring to Atlantic or Pacific mackerel, species with far lower mercury levels. King mackerel, on the other hand, is its toxic cousin, the one no one talks about. You order it thinking you're helping your heart. Instead, you're slowly burdening your brain. promised safety, delivered danger. Fish number 7. Imported catfish. Catfish has long been a comfort food, crispy, golden, and familiar. When it's raised in the U.S., that comfort is usually justified. American catfish farms are tightly regulated with strict inspections, clean water systems, and limited antibiotic use. The fish are monitored, the feed is tracked, and safety rules actually mean something. But imported catfish, especially from Vietnam and China, is a completely different story. FDA testing has repeatedly found traces of malachite green, a chemical dye banned in U.S. food production because it's a known carcinogen. So how does it keep ending up in imported fish? Because some overseas farms use it to treat fungal infections in overcrowded, poorly managed ponds, and they know only a small fraction of shipments ever get checked. Here's the shocking truth. Less than 2% of imported seafood gets physically inspected at U.S. ports. The rest clears customs on paperwork alone. So the package might say fresh, natural, or premium, but the reality behind that label is often a murky pond and chemicals used to keep dying fish alive. Picture this. You sit down for a classic fish fry. The batter is crisp, the fillet tender, exactly like you remember from childhood. But what you can't taste is the residue that cooking doesn't remove. What you can't see is the contamination that slipped through the supply chain. Doctors talk about avoiding carcinogens in processed meats or charred food, but almost nobody warns about imported catfish. For seniors already managing higher cancer risks, these invisible toxins matter. This isn't fear-mongering, it's pattern awareness. Cheap imports flood the market, pushing out local farmers who actually follow the rules. Their fish, clean, regulated, and responsibly raised, can't compete with the rock-bottom prices of foreign operations that treat chemicals as shortcuts. Those massive ponds overseas pack thousands of fish together, creating perfect breeding grounds for disease. Instead of fixing the cause, producers pour in more chemicals to keep production running. The result? Fish that survive long enough to sell, but not clean enough to trust. The label might show clear water and happy fish, but the reality is industrial-scale aquaculture in countries where safety standards are more like suggestions. So next time you see catfish nuggets on sale, pause and ask yourself, do you really know what pond they came from? Don't worry, we'll share exactly how to choose safer fish later in the video. Number 6. Orange Roughy. It looks harmless, a delicate white fillet sitting neatly on ice. Mild, buttery, easy to digest, perfect for seniors, right? Not quite. Orange Roughy might taste light, but it carries a century's worth of toxins, literally. This deep-sea fish can live more than 100 years, slowly accumulating mercury and industrial pollutants the entire time. Every year it spends in the ocean adds another layer of contamination, from coal emissions, mining waste, and agricultural runoff that all end up in the sea. By the time it reaches your plate, that healthy fish is a toxic archive of the past 100 years. Here's what that means for older adults. As we age, kidney function naturally declines, and the body becomes slower at clearing heavy metals like mercury. The more mercury that lingers, the more it harms, worsening memory, coordination, and heart rhythm. In one major study, seniors who ate high-mercury fish twice a week showed faster cognitive decline than those who avoided them. The difference wasn't subtle. Reaction time slowed, recall weakened, and focus dropped. Yet, grocery stores still sell Orange Roughy as a low-fat or heart-smart option. The labels highlight the protein and calories, but skip over the one thing that matters most, the mercury burden. Some Orange Roughy being caught today were swimming in the ocean before your grandparents were born. Yes, you read that right. Fish alive during World War II are now ending up in the seafood case. Each decade they lived, they absorbed more mercury and more toxins. You're not just eating dinner, you're eating history soaked in pollution. So while the fillet might look pure white, it's anything but innocent. The betrayal? It's marketed as gentle and safe, but beneath that mild flavor lies a toxic legacy served warm. Fish number 5. Imported tilapia. Once celebrated as the chicken of the sea, tilapia earned its place on countless healthy eating lists. It was cheap, mild, easy to cook, a go-to choice for seniors watching cholesterol or avoiding red meat. Hospitals served it. Senior centers relied on it. Nutritionists praised it as a gentle protein for aging bodies. But behind the clean packaging lies one of the biggest seafood deceptions in America. Almost all tilapia on U.S. shelves comes from overcrowded ponds in China and Indonesia, not from clean, regulated farms. These ponds are filled with murky water, and the fish are often fed a mix of animal waste, fillers, and low-quality byproducts just to keep costs down. Investigations have shown tilapia raised in water so polluted it wouldn't even come close to passing U.S. safety standards. Some farms even mix pig or poultry manure into the feed, a practice banned in American aquaculture. To keep the fish alive in these conditions, producers add chemicals and antibiotics that leave behind residues long after the fish are frozen, packed, and shipped. Here's the cruel twist. Tilapia's fat profile isn't what you think. It's loaded with omega-6 fats, the kind that fuel inflammation, while offering barely any of the protective omega-3s found in salmon or sardines. That's the opposite of what your body needs. For seniors already dealing with arthritis, heart disease, or joint pain, that imbalance can quietly make things worse. In fact, one study found that eating tilapia regularly could trigger the same inflammatory response as eating bacon, not exactly the heart-healthy image the label suggests. Picture this. You open a vacuum-sealed fillet at home. It smells faintly of pond water, but you brush it off. You season it, add a little olive oil, and pan-fry it, feeling good about your healthy dinner. It tastes light, clean, even satisfying. But what you can't taste is the chemical residue and inflammatory fat load your body is about to process. If you're on anti-inflammatory medication, that imbalance can blunt your treatment's effect, leaving you with more pain, stiffer joints, and less relief. Your doctor may raise your dosage, never realizing the problem isn't your body, it's your fish. Tilapia's affordability hides its real price: long-term inflammation and hidden chemical exposure. It's a silent trade-off that chips away at your health one meal at a time. The seafood industry won't talk about it. They built a billion-dollar business on marketing tilapia as safe, lean, and affordable. But cheap doesn't mean clean, and a low sticker price means nothing if it costs you your mobility and your heart health. The label says lean protein. The reality? Hidden pain on your plate. Want to stay one step ahead of hidden food dangers? Subscribe now, because the next episode could help protect your health, your wallet, and your future. Number 4. Swordfish. A thick, grilled swordfish steak looks like something straight from a high-end restaurant. Golden char lines, a rich aroma, that firm texture. It feels luxurious, even powerful. Menus call it the steak of the sea, and the price tag matches the promise: $18–22 a plate. But behind that fancy label hides one of the most dangerous seafood secrets in America. Swordfish are top predators. They spend decades roaming open waters, eating smaller fish that already carry mercury from ocean pollution. Each meal adds a little more metal to their system. Each year locks in more. By the time that fish reaches your plate, it's carrying years' worth of mercury buildup, and your body gets the next dose. That buildup doesn't stay quiet. According to a 2019 NIH study following seniors for 5 years, those who ate high-mercury fish like swordfish showed noticeable memory decline, irregular heart rhythms, and early signs of kidney stress. The risk wasn't rare, it was consistent. Still, seafood counters keep selling swordfish steaks under bright lights, wrapped in shiny plastic that screams premium. But price doesn't equal safety. When you buy that $20 fillet, you're paying more for toxins your kidneys can't easily flush out. For older adults already taking blood pressure or diabetes medication, that mercury load can tip your body over the edge, straining your heart, slowing your mind, and quietly working against your prescriptions. What's marketed as a special treat often becomes a long-term burden. Restaurants call it premium. Health experts call it hazardous. And that's the truth most menus never print. Number 3. Imported lobster tails. Lobster night feels like celebration. Anniversaries, holidays, special dinners. That golden moment when you melt butter, squeeze lemon, and crack open a perfectly steamed tail. It's the definition of indulgence. But recently, several U.S. ports have rejected imported lobster shipments after testing positive for chloramphenicol, a powerful antibiotic banned in American food production. Why? Because even small traces can damage your bone marrow and stop your body from making enough red or white blood cells. For anyone, that's alarming. For seniors, especially those on blood thinners like warfarin, it's downright dangerous. The antibiotic can intensify bleeding risk and trigger sudden immune crashes without warning. You might not feel it right away, but inside, your bone marrow starts slowing down. And yet, the seafood counter tells a prettier story. Wild-caught luxury. Imported delicacy. No mention of where it came from. No mention of testing. Just glossy shells and romantic lighting. Picture this. You spend hours preparing dinner. You thaw the lobster tails overnight, steam them gently, set the table perfectly. Everyone's excited. The first bite tastes sweet and perfect. But beneath that perfect meal is something you can't taste, an antibiotic your body was never meant to process. For someone with a fragile immune system, that single meal could trigger exhaustion, bruising, or even hospitalization days later. And no one ever connects it to dinner. The packaging sells joy. The truth hides beneath the shell. Stay with me, because the part that actually protects you is coming up next. Crab. Number 2. King crab legs, imported, especially from Russia. Those gleaming red shells, the satisfying crack of the claws, and that sweet white meat dipped in butter. King crab legs are the definition of luxury dining. They headline buffets, mark anniversaries, and turn ordinary dinners into events. The moment feels extravagant. The weight of the shells, the aroma, the drama of cracking them open. But behind that feast lies one of the seafood industry's biggest scams. DNA tests run by ocean conservation groups found that up to 38% of king crab sold in U.S. markets isn't king crab at all. It's often cheaper snow crab or another species, mislabeled and sold at premium prices. You're paying $25 or even $40 a pound for an imposter. And the problem doesn't stop at the label. Many of these luxury crabs are imported from Russian waters, regions known for industrial pollution and heavy metal contamination. Tests have revealed alarming levels of arsenic, a toxin linked to cancer, kidney damage, and heart disease. For seniors already managing health issues, even trace arsenic exposure makes things worse. It quietly strains your organs, weakens your heart, and magnifies every existing risk. Now imagine the scene. You crack open those steaming crab legs, dip the tender meat into butter, and savor that rich ocean flavor. But what you can't see is the contamination, or the fact that your king crab might be something entirely different. The seafood industry counts on you not knowing the difference. The texture, the flavor, they're close enough to fool almost anyone. And since enforcement is weak, companies get away with it. The FDA catches a few cases, fines them lightly, and the cycle repeats. You're left paying top dollar for polluted waters product wrapped in a glossy lie. Ever wonder why banned ingredients from overseas still end up in American stores? Or why the same brands keep facing recalls but never seem to change? Number 1. Canned tuna, especially albacore. For decades, canned tuna has worn the halo of health. It's cheap, light, and easy. A sandwich filler, a quick salad, a pantry staple. For many seniors, it's the go-to protein that feels safe and familiar. Pop the lid, drain the water, mix it with a little mayo, lunch is ready. But beneath that convenience hides one of the most persistent sources of mercury exposure in the modern diet. A single can of albacore can exceed recommended mercury limits for older adults. Both the FDA and EPA have issued warnings, but they're buried in fine print most people never read. Mercury doesn't leave your body quickly. It builds up over months and years, especially in the brain, liver, and kidneys. For seniors, that buildup is dangerous. The body's natural filtering systems slow down with age, letting mercury circulate longer and do more damage. A Harvard study following older adults for 5 years found that those who ate tuna more than twice a week experienced 30% faster memory decline than those who didn't. 30%, not a tiny difference, but a measurable loss of cognitive sharpness and reaction time. The connection was undeniable, even after accounting for other health factors. Still, grocery shelves are lined with smiling tuna mascots and health claims, rich in protein, good for your heart, packed with omega-3s. The cans promise vitality. What they don't mention is the invisible metal accumulating with every bite. That's the trap. Trusted food, familiar packaging, hidden risk. You twist the lid, drain the can, and the smell takes you back. Childhood lunches, quick weeknight dinners, the comfort of something simple and familiar. Pale pink chunks floating in water or oil. You press down the lid to squeeze out the excess, mix in a little mayo and celery, and spread it over soft bread. It tastes just like it always has, but what your tongue can't detect is the mercury slowly aging your brain and straining your kidneys. That healthy tuna sandwich is now one of the biggest silent threats for older adults. Your kidneys can't clear mercury the way they once did, and medications like blood pressure pills or diuretics only make the job harder. Each can adds a little more burden your body doesn't need. Your doctor might mention small changes in your kidney numbers at your annual checkup. You nod, promise to drink more water, and move on. No one ever asks about the tuna. You keep eating it 2, maybe 3 times a week, the habit feels harmless. But slowly, the fog creeps in. You forget names, misplace your glasses, stand in a room and wonder what you came for. No one connects it to lunch. No one suspects the sandwich. The label says, packed with protein. The truth? Packed with mercury that's speeding up your brain's aging clock. What about you? Ever bought seafood that looked perfect and turned out to be a disappointment? Share your story below. So, what is safe to eat? Let's talk about the two seafood choices that actually deserve a spot on your plate, ones that nourish instead of harm. 1. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Real nutrition, real safety, no marketing gimmicks. Alaskan salmon is one of the cleanest, most trustworthy fish you can buy. It's rich in omega-3s that genuinely support heart health, reduce inflammation, and help preserve memory function with age. These fish don't live long enough to accumulate mercury like bigger predators do. They spend just a few short years in the ocean before returning to fresh water, meaning less toxin buildup and more clean protein and essential fats for you. Every Alaskan fishery operates under strict environmental rules. Catches are monitored, quotas are science-based, and sustainability isn't just a buzzword, it's enforced by law. That deep red or pink color, it comes naturally from their diet, not from dyes or additives. When you buy wild-caught Alaskan salmon, you're not just paying for taste, you're paying for transparency, safety, and peace of mind. You're supporting sustainable fisheries and getting a fish that truly earns its heart-healthy label. 2. U.S. farmed rainbow trout. If you want something milder and quick to cook, rainbow trout is your best bet. Raised in clean, carefully monitored freshwater systems, U.S. farmed trout offers lean protein without the toxic risks found in imported seafood. The farms are tightly regulated, no unapproved antibiotics, no polluted water, no chemical-laden feed. Inspectors test the water quality constantly, and if a farm fails, it's shut down until everything's fixed. That's the kind of oversight foreign fisheries often skip entirely. Rainbow trout's flavor is mild and slightly nutty, perfect for anyone who dislikes strong, fishy tastes. The texture is tender, flaky, and forgiving to cook. You can grill it, bake it, or pan-sear it in just a few minutes and still get restaurant-quality results. This is what real, trustworthy seafood should look like. Clean sources, honest practices, and genuine nutrition you can rely on. When you pick U.S. farmed rainbow trout, you're supporting local farmers who follow the rules and value safety over shortcuts. Every purchase becomes a vote for integrity and a step toward protecting your own health. Most of these farms operate in places like Idaho and North Carolina, where the water runs clean and fresh. The trout are raised in conditions that feel close to nature, producing fish that are healthy, safe, and delicious. For many seniors, though, the seafood aisle feels more like a guessing game than a healthy choice. Mercury levels swing from safe to scary. Antibiotics banned in the U.S. are still used freely overseas. Labels get swapped, and premium fish turn out to be cheap substitutes loaded with chemicals. Recalls happen quietly, often after you've already eaten the product. These aren't flukes. They're part of a system that hides behind fancy packaging and vague promises. But you deserve better. You deserve truth, not confusion. You deserve seafood that's as honest as it claims to be, food that nourishes instead of slowly poisoning. And now you have that truth. You know which 9 seafoods carry hidden dangers. Shrimp from overseas tainted with antibiotics, mackerel and swordfish packed with brain-damaging mercury, imported catfish laced with carcinogens, and tilapia that triggers inflammation while pretending to be lean protein. You know orange roughy is a toxic relic. Imported lobster tails can carry antibiotics that harm bone marrow. Imported crab often hides arsenic. And canned albacore tuna, that childhood classic, can quietly speed up memory loss. But you also know what's safe: wild-caught Alaskan salmon and U.S. farmed rainbow trout. These two truly earn their spot on your plate. Clean, transparent, responsibly raised, and packed with real nutrition your body recognizes and benefits from. This isn't about fear or giving up seafood. It's about taking control. It's about knowing what fuels your heart, your brain, and your future. Now, when you stand at that seafood counter, you're not guessing. You're informed. You can spot misleading labels, ask the right questions, and choose what keeps you strong. Don't let billion-dollar brands profit from confusion. Don't let glossy labels trick you into eating what your body can't afford. You've earned better. You've earned food that strengthens, not weakens, food that respects the years you've lived and the health you've built. So, the next time you shop, choose knowledge. Choose safety. Choose what truly serves you. And if you're watching this on TV, hit subscribe, because no one should have to face the seafood aisle blindfolded again.